New Days with Chelz.
Talofa, what is good? Welcome to the show for today. If you have just tuned in right now, perfect timing because we do have a very special guest joining us live in the New FM studios and for your Friday. Introducing to you the Welsh Johnny Depp. We do have James Nokise live in the building right now. Talofa, my bro. So good to have you.
Thank you.
Comedian, for those of you that might not know who you are, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, who you represent, all that good stuff.
Yeah, my name's James Nokise and I'm a stand-up comic by trade. I do other stuff like writing and podcasts and whatnot. People in the community might know me as Tofinga for Pully Eyes, pasty little friend.
Yeah.
Who's been because I toured with my bro last year, which was a very, very fun time, and this year as well. And that's basically my life, is living out of a suitcase and traveling around. It's nice to be up here in Auckland.
Yeah, for sure. You were just telling me about your schedule for the rest of this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, like just all over the place, traveling here, touring here, performing here.
Yeah, but that's the kind of life, is that I don't necessarily stay in New Zealand and do like TV and stuff. Here I go to international festivals and do live clubs and that. Also, I've just been living with my dad for like a year unexpectedly, so all travel is welcome.
Yeah. I love it so much. So you're, like you said, a comedian by trade, and you also do some really important work as well, which we'll talk about later up on the show, your podcast, new series that has just come out as well. But tell us a little more about your Samoan background in terms of your relationship with the language, maybe, and your upbringing. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, my family from Newtown down in Wellington. My grandfather was the Reverend Pepe Nokise. My father is the Reverend Dr. Felitorica Nokise.
Oh, yeah.
Same church, PIC Newtown. So I grew up in that community.
Yeah.
My mum is from Wales.
Wow,
which
that's crazy.
In the 1970s, 1980s was a group of Palangi that the Samoan community did not really know well. But she's from a small part of Wales called Gower, which is on the south coast. And so she spent all her time here, and I grew up with this British side and this slightly British accent in this big Wellington Samoan community. So when I was a kid, I'm part of I think a lot of people from the 1980s might have experienced this, where we were raised without the language. Well, our parents tried to raise us English first. Yeah. But our grandparents were just going to speak whatever they spoke to us, and you got to figure it out.
Listen.
So I still hear the language pretty well, particularly when I'm back in the community, like when I'm in New Zealand. Sometimes it takes a week, but then it all drops back into rhythm. I don't speak it confidently. I know I can say hello, I can ask for a cup of tea, or more importantly, I can hear when someone asks me for a cup of tea. And it's something that as an adult, especially now we have Samoan language, we didn't have that when I was growing up. And we've got all of this wonderful books coming out and artwork as well. It's something I'm really trying to... We have apps for the Samoan language.
I know,
Do you know that?
We need a Cook Island version of those apps, but
you gotta get
with technology
the
out there,
Because my wife is Palangi. She's from Australia. But she really loves the Samoan culture and the community, especially this past year where we've lived in it. So she's got these apps on her phone, and now she's side-eyeing me, going, hey, am I going to overtake you?
Yeah. I think it's really interesting having these conversations because it's changing, and I feel like with my cookie side, I was real ashamed that I didn't know the language, and I kind of almost disconnected my own self because I was like, well, I don't know. So I would just kind of keep that part out, when I introduced myself, because I was ashamed that I didn't know that, where I feel like a lot of people now, it's like, it's okay that you don't know, and there's different reasons why you might not be fluent in the language. So I think that's really cool that you're still connected to that. In terms of, I hate using the term half caste. I feel like that's like a derogatory term that we don't use, but you know how you're saying you're Samoan and Welsh as well. What side do you feel a little more connected to in terms of like the culture, and are you connected with your Welsh side?
I'm real tight with my mum, and my mum really loves and knows her Welsh culture. Gotcha. But no, I identify more with my Samoan. Because I was raised in the community here. But then again, it's the New Zealand Samoan. So I'm very aware that I'm a pale-skinned, mixed race, New Zealand-born Samoan.
We all look different these days, and it's changing. You know what I mean? And
so my disconnection from my Welsh side, though, because I hadn't been to Wales. I've been to Samoa a few times. I've been to my village. Shout out to Lusoli. but I hadn't been there, so I felt like I was a weird Samoan.
Yeah.
Like, because I met other mixed race Samoans when I was growing up, but they weren't as weird as me. Then I went and met my Welsh family, first time when I was in my early 20s, and I was like, oh, I'm Welsh. You guys are just as weird as me, but you're Welsh.
Yeah. So coming from like a Samoan family, getting into comedy, like what was the family sort of like reaction or response to you wanting to take that on as like a career?
Look, I just want to give a shout out to the Laughing Samoans and Oscar and the Naked Samoans because I'm very lucky that when I started out, those guys were like, they saw me. And so they were able to speak like to what I was doing. And Etuata Ete actually spoke to my dad.
That's a good reference right there.
Like and said, hey, he's doing good. And my dad was like, oh, okay, because I was meant to be a lawyer. And I don't know if any of you guys out there have working in the arts or want to work in the arts, but your parents are like law, accounting, science now, medicine. So it's like, that was a conversation to have, a nervous conversation. But he's incredibly supportive. And my whole family's really proud now. I think once you start winning awards and like, have your own radio shows, then they're like, no. And it's really cool because I see the next generation coming up now. I'm in my mid-30s and I see this next generation coming up, and it's not as stressful for a lot of them. I'm not saying it's not stressful for all you guys. I'm saying it's not stressful for a lot of them.
So I don't know what happened. Our chairs are playing up at the moment. You just sunk.
I just sunk.
Sunk on the chair. I don't know what happened there, but like I said, I think that we've been having like a lot of those conversations where our parents move over for a better life for us, and they want us to get these degrees and stuff like that. And then you have people that are really passionate about storytelling and creative arts, in these different avenues. And I think it's really cool when parents are able to see that and support their children in those chosen fields as well. And you're doing amazing. You've got a new season. I'm popping out right now. Series of a brand new podcast that we'll talk about up next on the show. But if you tune in right now, we do have James Nokise live in the studio right now. We'll be joining him. He'll be joining us actually again up next on the show to talk a bit more about his podcast that he's got coming out again soon. Right now though, Victor J. Seffel and with Barely Air right here on UFM. It is Kings in the Spot coming through with Rest in Peace right here on UFM, the beat of the Pacific. 26 minutes out from 12 o'clock, jokes, right here on UFM right now. Joining us live in the studio, we do have James Nokise joining us live. And we've been talking about his, growing up, his upbringing, especially his connection to his Samoan heritage as well, which has been really cool to hear. And, you're obviously a comedian by trade, and you've got a really... I guess, having a podcast about mental health and being a comedian, it's quite it's quite interesting to see, these two kind of polar opposites almost of the work that you do. Tell us a little bit about eating fried chicken in the shower. Where did that name come from, first of all?
It's real easy. I had a bit of a breakdown. I had a mental health episode, and it resulted in me sitting in my friend's shower eating popcorn chicken.
I love popcorn chicken.
I know, I love popcorn chicken. Because people always want to say, oh, what kind of, does it get messy if you're eating? I go, no, you get popcorn chicken, you put it to the side of the shower, and then you just sit in the shower and you reach out. And I was talking about that I was doing a Radio New Zealand interview and just mentioned I was doing that. And someone said to me, oh, would you think about doing a podcast? I was like, about chicken? They went, no, about mental health. And the whole vibe of the show is it's really lighthearted. So we do eat chicken in a shower. Right now it's the Eden Park shower. When I'm in the All Blacks changing room eating fried chicken in their shower, and people come into that shower and they eat chicken with me, and we just talk about mental health issues, which can be real heavy, heavy chat. So what we do, we eat chicken, we joke, and it's the same kind of joke. Hey, I bet you when you grew up, you sit with your cousins in the garage, and you talk stuff, and eat good food. That's the same vibe. And I realized that, especially for Pacific people, I think that's how we talk the real talk. Is we don't do it across a table, sitting down or on a couch with someone listening. We get with the people we trust and the food we like, and that's how we talk our stuff out. And so I just want to bring that kind of vibe.
That food is a big one, eh? Like everything just,
Oh, you gotta
just-
have the food.
Yeah, gotta have the
Gotta
fried chicken.
have the food.
Yeah.
Whether it's mental health
Yeah,
or
yeah.
politics
Yeah.
or choosing the Samoan Prime Minister, you gotta have the right food
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the table.
Wow. And so you've had some incredible guests on, a whole range of different guests. This is your 4th season, if I'm
Yeah.
correct, coming out, and you're working for the first time with RNZ, a little bit with New FM, PMN
Yeah.
as well. Tell us a bit
Yeah.
about that.
Well, we're really excited to be doing. We're doing a talanoa, particularly on men's mental health. For really trying to talk about issues affecting our young Pacific men, because we got really heavy stuff going on with Pacific men and mental health. Kings is singing about it.
Yeah, in the song.
And that's really lovely to see. There's a whole bunch of Pacific artists now who are doing various ways of just normalizing us being able to talk
Yeah.
about it. Because, hey, our people, our stories, we're not necessarily great at having open conversations about that. Partly because sometimes we're not great at talking. Sometimes you want to talk to your dad and say, hey, I'm feeling this. But your dad doesn't even know how to talk to
Yeah.
you about boyfriends or girlfriends,
Yeah.
let alone your emotions.
Your mental health. Yeah, yeah. That's so true, though.
And so part of making the series and part of like this episode is to be just a little resource for people to go and listen to, know that there's other people out there who might be having similar stuff to them, hear from, guests who are, people like John Campbell, or
Yeah.
Chief John Campbell,
Yeah.
Samoan Chief John Campbell, or Nolene Toto, Silver Ferns coach, and getting those people in and saying, hey, we've got issues. Haley Holt coming in and saying, hey, we've got issues,
Wow.
and these are our issues, and these are how we work with them. Not deal with them, because some stuff's real big and ongoing, and it's not about dealing with it, it's working with it. Some stuff is long to get to a place where you're comfortable with it. And I know that from personal experience, and so I bring that to the table, bring that to the shower. And then it's really just about having a fun chat and knowing that that's an example. Some chats in mental health, you got to have serious chats. But some chats in mental health, you can just have a fun chat with your mates, and that can make a real difference.
I love that it's normalizing those kind of conversations, because everyone goes through stuff. Everyone's got mental health,
Yeah.
that we all have to not deal with, but work with.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool to see as well. What has been some of the highlights in terms of responses from people, from you stepping out and doing this podcast and creating this safe space for people?
Look, considering it's based off a breakdown, I'm still surprised that we have 4 seasons.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
said, hey, go sit in the shower and eat chicken.
Yeah.
Like the first season, we were just like, I can't believe they're letting us eat chicken in a shower.
Yeah.
But people have reached out internationally. So I've had people in New Zealand, lots of great responses. People in New Zealand getting in touch, asking when the next season's coming out, suggesting topics like things in mental health they'd like to know more about. People who have been experiencing things, who found the show, and it's a real light listen, and they found that they can talk about it, or it's led them to go get help, because we always give avenues that they can go and get help. People overseas, when we're talking about it, and they find it just by chance, because there's not many mental health podcasts out there, and there's few that are funny.
Yeah.
A lot of them are real dry. A lot of them are people just like sitting there, and even when we cry in a shower, you're still crying in a shower with fried chicken. So you're trying to wipe the tears, but you're also smearing chicken grease on your face. So you end up chuckling as well.
I love the dynamics of what you bring, with the way that you've designed the podcast to, but just that safe, casual space. It's okay, open up, have a laugh, have a piece of chicken.
Yeah, and sometimes, because we get the guests to pick their chicken. So sometimes, I remember one guest, he got a chicken donut, which was spicy, and you had to put on gloves. And my poor sound editor is sitting there just, it's all, and then rustle.
Yeah.
And he's like, we had to check on his mental health.
Yeah.
Make sure he was fine.
What was I going to say? If I was to be on your show, I'd have to have Wicked Wings as my
Wicked Wings.
to go. Yeah,
Like
that
KFC
is my
Wicked
go-to. Yeah, chicken. I love.
Oh man.
Are you a fan of Wicked Wings?
Yeah, I like Wicked Wings. I used to like the old Colonel burger, but they've changed the recipe up.
Yeah.
You know?
No, Wicked Wings are.
like while we're talking about mental health and KFC, raise your customer service. I know it's been locked down, but I just feel some of your customer service, you're phoning it in.
Yeah.
All right, you're like the Labour Party. You're just taking the Pacific people for granted.
Yeah.
All right, just because you're red, it doesn't mean we're going to show up all the time. All right, put in some effort, or we're just going to be at Wendy's. All right. We're never going to be at Wendy's.
No. No, we love our chicken. We love our buckets of chicken. Give it to us now. But yeah, I mean, honestly, going back to that, the amount of times you're going, we got no more thighs, we got no more. So I agree with it. I'm in your
See, it's good mental health,
march
man.
for it.
It's good mental health. You don't want to make all that effort to go to KFC. Big stress. You didn't even realize you were going to have to get a second bucket, but then your cousin found out and phoned you on the way down to KFC. Can you just pick up a second?
What was I going to say? In terms of it being Mental Health Week for men this week here in the world, actually, how do you kind of, in terms of catching up with fellow men in your life, how would you kind of open the conversation for mental health? Like, how do you do that? Is it just like, how are you doing, bro? Like, is it as simple as that, or? Yeah.
Like it's making space for the conversation to happen.
Yeah.
Starts with a hug, because we can do
Love that. Yeah.
And we can do that in New Zealand. It finishes, very importantly, with love, like the word, with telling my boys that I love them. I think we're really hard as men. We really struggle to do that in English. We're pretty good at saying alofatele and arohanui. But when it says I love you, so I make sure that when I leave that kind of conversation with one of my male mates, that I say them as a man, as a staunch straight man, I look him in the eye and say, I love you, bro. Yeah, I love you. I'm here for you when you need. And he's like, calm down, bro. It's the food court.
Yeah. No, we've got a really cool network of young guys here, and to hear them say that to each other and normal, like, that's cool. I love hearing that and seeing that. Love you, bro. Got you. Like, it's really cool to see. From
again, just because I'm older, it's normalizing it for the older guys to say it as well. Yeah, because young blood's got it all in hand. Yeah. Like, but someone's like, you, bro.
You too.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you.
What was I going to say? In terms of, you were chatting a bit about us sometimes, with our Pasifika parents, the older generation. What if you could say anything to them in terms, how sometimes you find it hard to, they don't know what to do with that conversation when it's brought up, you know what I mean? Especially if it's their kids coming to them. What would you say to that kind of generation?
I would say these moments are the absolute moments to think, what would Jesus do? Yeah. That's when, lead into that faith if you have it. All right. What did Jesus do? Sat and listened. Yeah. Sat and listened. That's all. You don't have to bring the judgment. You ain't Moses. Do the Jesus thing.
Preach it. Yeah.
Sit and listen and love. That's all you got to do. Sit and listen and love. And it can be hard to hear. Oh, and cry. Oh, man, it's good to cry.
Yeah.
Have a cry. And then get the chicken. Cry and chicken.
I love it. I love normalizing that. And real quickly on Mental Health Awareness Week for our males out there, do you have like 3 leaving tips with, I guess, as for maybe wives or fathers or children to be able to create safe spaces for our men to be able to share? I know you've touched on that a bit, but... Yeah,
I'd say number 1, make sure that you... are keeping an eye on yourself. I think often as part of a family unit or as part of a clique, a collection of friends, you think about the collective. Now, that's also just part of the heritage of our culture, but make sure you're checking in on yourself. Second is make a safe space for yourself. And I don't mean like just physically, like mentally, somewhere that you can just take some time out for yourself. And the third thing is treat yourself. Doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to, maybe it's just you get 10 minutes to check the NBA scores or just give yourself a little treat. Sometimes the negative stuff that comes into your head, it gets on a bit of a loop, and you can break that loop by just like taking some time out in a safe space and giving yourself a little treat. For me, it's having a shower with some fried chicken.
I can imagine, yeah.
But that can be a metaphor as well. So just find your treat, find your space, take some time.
In terms of, real quickly, of releasing, sometimes you said, with thoughts that loop and loop and loop, and you kind of live with them and they're just there. In terms of getting that out, like, do you journal or what's your way of... Like, do you write a bit or?
I write as a job, so like I'm often writing. For what you're talking about, for me personally, a walk and some music.
Oh, okay,
That's a good one for me. Is that I'll take a walk and just put on some big beats, or maybe I might even go listen to Kings. Yeah, his song is that. And again, sometimes it's just to open you up. So you can listen to some music that you know is going to make you cry if you need to cry. And if you need to be alone to do that, just go do that.
I love it. Wow, what a conversation. I love these kind of conversations. I love the work that you do. And there's been no one better or greater to bring in for Mental Health Awareness Week for our men than you. So thank you so much for coming through. Your podcast series 4 of Eating Fried Chicken in the Shower is coming out...
Coming out in August.
August, yeah.
Yeah, the something.
It's going to
be mid late August.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be the one.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of episodes there now that you can go check in on, and we do these wonderful follow-up episodes with clinical psychologist Sal Jahal, who just explains some of the technical stuff.
Do you take them in the shower too? The
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we give them chicken.
Yeah.
Like he gets the crew gets chicken, the guest gets chicken. If the guest brings someone, they get chicken too. Everyone eats.
So for those listening right now, wanting to follow you and your journey and the podcast as well, where do they go to?
They can find me on Twitter or on Facebook at James Nokise, and they can find it on RNZ website as well. Or if they do Apple Podcasts and that, it's up there as well.
And this guy's on TikTok as well, guys. So make sure you go plug your TikTok.
My TikTok account is a real mental health account because all I do is just like, it's so different to all my other work. I just go on there and yell about racism.
I was going to say real quickly, I saw this TikTok, speaking of TikTok, and this lady was like, this is for like randoms on the internet that don't know me in real life. It's not for my, like when they find, because it is a different world, eh? Like there's...
I forget I'm on TikTok because I go on there and just like espouse a rant about racism in New Zealand and then like leave, and then like a week later I'm like, oh, that's like 1,000 people.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you so much again, James, for joining us live in the studio. Appreciate your work. All the best with your new podcast as well. I got some really exciting collaborations that are happening in the mix as well, so make sure you follow to find out the guest and stuff that he's got on. Any last words before we wrap it up?
Hey, just for anyone out there who's having a struggle, find someone and talk, and don't be afraid to just reach out. Don't be afraid to be embarrassed or shy. It's okay. It gets hard and then it gets better.
Love it. Beautiful words. That's for everyone. So thank you so much to our amazing guest for today. Thank you for your amazing work. Go follow him. And season 4 of Eating Fried Chicken in the Shower is coming out something-ish in August.
Yeah.
Yes. So keep an eye out for that. Go follow and show him some love as well. Right now, straight back into that good music. HP Boys in with Rumours right here on UFM.